Uh-oh, it's
No
live.
countdown. You're done. You're already live.
99, 98.
Welcome back to the V Plus Podcast, episode 26. I'm going to say it now and at the end. I was just telling Nasom about it. I do have my first short story up, doing my own plug for once. Have my first short story up. I wrote it about my birthday. I wrote it not about my birthday, but I wrote it about a birthday, about a different character.
It was your birthday.
It's up on SeftimorLive.com. I will link it in the description. But onto the podcast. So we said some topics. Which one we're going to start off with?
We can make this kind of funny and just like read the title and then stop. Walmart has canceled all early SNES classic pre-orders due to a technical glitch.
That's what. Oh well, on their side.
Mhm.
Well, I was sitting here with Vlad, and he was we were what were we doing? We were playing some game downstairs, just hanging out on a Friday night, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, they went live." So he
They did it.
he grabbed his phone, he went in, he put it in his cart, and then he remembered he left his wallet at home. He's like, "I'm going over to Joel's house. Why do I need a wallet?" So I looked at him and I'm like, "Dude, you can go, man. It's all right. Like, I'm not gonna get offended." So he's like, "All right." So you're like rushed over, and by the time he got home, it said that it was all gone. So now there's a bunch of outrage because these people got refunded.
Here's the statement from Delaney. Unfortunately, due to a technical glitch, the Super Nintendo Classic Edition was mistakenly made available last Friday evening ahead of the official release date. This is Delaney, the senior director for customer care at Walmart, in an email to pre-order customers on the afternoon of this article. We regrettably will have to cancel this item on your order. We know that this is an incredibly disappointing to you, and we're truly sorry for this mistake. And that's it. So you'll have to wait till September, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. That's it? That's what we were saying.
That's what I wanted to be like. They canceled them. Shrug shoulders, move on.
Well, I'm actually going to throw one in here that I just remembered that I wanted to talk about. I think for the first time in like, I don't know. Well, I always use Comixology. I'm a big comic fan. You know that. I always use Comixology. Well, I'm actually thinking about going to get it because it might be something that's like collectible, not in the sense that's going to be worth money, but just something I like. As you know, I said at the start of the podcast that I wrote my first horror short, and they have DC is coming out with a horror book.
Okay.
And it's written by a lot of the writers that I've gotten into now. Brian Keene, Brian Smith, Edward Lee, Nick Cutter, and they're all writing different characters in this book. And if it sells, then DC's going to make it into a continuing thing.
Okay.
So the best way for this to happen is for people to go to their comic shops and pre-order the book, because I don't know what this means, but I was listening to them on their podcast, on the Horror Show with Brian Keene podcast, talk about it.
Yeah.
And they say that the comic distribution is a monopoly, which I don't fully understand that. And they said that the best way for people to get it, or for them to continue it, is to go walk into your comic shop and pre-order it, or go online and pre-order it that way so it gets delivered to you.
So you're saying this Comixology.com is what you would use to get it?
No, I'm going to get the physical copy if that helps with sales for them.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Let me look it up.
Do you have a favorite comic shop to frequent in your area?
Yeah, I'd go over to Rubber Mallet.
I was at Rubber Mallet before.
I like them.
It's small in there, but I guess it doesn't need to be big.
Yeah, I mean, these are, Brian Keene, Bram Stoker Award winner, Weston Oates, Bram Stoker nominees, Edward Lee, Mary Sangiovanni, other Masters of Horror, including Wrath James White, Nick Cutter, Brian Smith. And they partnered up with all these different artists, and they're going to be writing each their own character. I know, like Edward Lee, which is the most gruesome. I just read like 3 Edward Lee books in the past 3 weeks. I never heard of him. He's the most vile, disgusting, books that you'll ever read. A lot of these people are in what they call the splatterpunk genre, which is a very extreme horror genre. But what I like about it is that if you are used to reading Stephen King, or with all that this wall is red like blood mixed with blood,
mixed with pink.
It has a light on it that's kind of blue, and it shows about 1 foot across the. Okay, Steve, like we know where you're going, bro. We know this is
what he does. He makes a lot of money doing it. He's very successful.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking him. I love it. But if you want just like cut to the chase, fucked up shit, this is the best way to go with these writers. And Brian Smith is one of them. He just had a movie come out, 68 Kill. That's what I'm currently reading, Doge.
Okay.
And it's just I think it's going to be fantastic. And if they continue on with these guys to keep doing this, that's something I want to support. So DC House of Horrors comes out in October. It's going to be 80 pages.
I had not followed DC for a very, very long time, and that's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this Comixology .com that you recommended. They got some nice sales. I'm not going to say they don't.
Dude, yeah, but it gets out of hand, man.
What do you mean it gets out of hand?
It gets out of hand because it's like 99 cents, and then you go to like Walking Dead, it's on issue 200, so you spend.
Well, you had interest in the past in the Stephen King Dark Tower, the graphic novels, like the ones I had shown you.
Yep.
And they're on sale here for like $2.99 a piece. That's a really good price. I mean, it just is. If you had to buy them like physically, you're talking about $25. Normally they were here for $10, and it's a really easy way to get through all those books kind of without having to sit down and read those books or listen to them if you had audiobook.
Yeah, on Brian Keene's website, it says, have you ever wondered what a Brian Keene Justice League or John Constantine comic would be like? Or perhaps I wonder what Edward Lee. Now, Edward Lee, like I said, is the most vile, but you have to understand that it's really fucked up. But the problem is that like you'll be reading it and be like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever read. Like, I don't know if I keep reading. But the thing with Edward Lee and why he was a Bram Stoker nominee is because his writing is incredible.
Okay.
Like the story is incredible.
Okay.
But there's just cutting people's head off and having sex with the stump and all craziness like that. So
that's the stuff you like, huh?
Yeah, it's like torture porn in its finest. But
okay.
But Edward Lee's doing Superman. Like I can't wait to read this. Like he's writing Superman.
Okay.
Mary Sangiovanni is gonna write Wonder Woman. Nick Cutter, who had a really great novel a couple of years ago called The Troop, is going to do Batman, which is like, I know you don't know these people, but it's like a perfect fit. And it's going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited for it.
Cool.
So I guess that went a little longer than I wanted to, but had to do that because, this is a little bit of a geek podcast, so a little comic talk never hurt.
No way. I mean, I just try to catch up on some of the stuff that I've been trying to get back into comic-wise. Not that I have time to really read them. I'll go online and I'll just download whatever I kind of like wanted to read. And I'll see if I ever get to it. So currently I was left with I was supposed to start The Walking Dead from like at least issue 1 to 100, and I didn't get very far with it. So then I switched over to the Dark Tower stuff when we started talking about it, and it's been going pretty good. But it's like I think I have to have the actual physical book in my hands for me to sit down and read it. I won't sit here and be able to do it. I can't concentrate like that. On
Comixology, though, it's panel to panel, which once you have panel to panel, it's kind of hard to go back.
You were saying that once before where you had, I think it was even an app you were trying to show me that moves stuff for you.
Yeah, it's just a panel, and it moves, kind of like an animation.
Yeah.
And you just look at one panel, so you could read it on your phone. Obviously, I prefer to read on a tablet or an iPad or a laptop is really good.
Yeah.
But it's just boom, blown up. So one of the big problems I have is that I read comics way too fast, and then I'm not like focused on the art, especially if I'm binge reading.
Okay.
I'm just blowing through it. But like when you have this great piece of art that's just in this panel that's blown up.
Yeah.
See, I think it's good, but if I remember when Comixology first came out, I was listening to one of Scott Johnson's, And,
oh God, Scott Johnson.
and they were yelling about it because he had a few. It was his podcast, which isn't around anymore, called Comic Dorks. It was excellent. He had some actual writers on there, and they look at it as, well, that's not how it's drawn. It's drawn as a page.
Yes.
All panels. So they weren't too big on it. I think it's amazing, but they weren't too happy with it because they're saying that you're just, you know, if you're looking at, I don't know, the Mona Lisa or something, you're looking at like the top left. Now you're looking at the top right. Now you're looking at down here or something like that. You know, it's drawn as a page.
I can probably concur with that. Now that I have the book for that Gunslinger one that I showed to you that I actually got from the library, I can get through more of it versus what I was able to do with the Walking Dead series while it was on here on like Comic Rack. And that was just like me trying to find a space or a place to be able to sit down and do this stuff. So personally, I'm having more success with actually just having the physical book with the pages I can turn. I can see everything as I'm supposed to. And then rather than having to maybe experience X amount of time of an audiobook or the actual book, I can kind of visually see what the artists have done here and move along with the dialogue of the story as it would be in comic form. And I think it's great.
Yeah. Speaking of comics, Spawn's coming back.
That's that. Wait, we're saving that for last. You have to move to.
Well, you don't want to talk about Michael J. White?
He's not coming back.
What, John Leguizamo?
I don't think. I think Todd McFarlane, since it's been like 20 years since that movie was made, wants full creative control over this, so that you can't have a Michael J. White, John Leguizamo's kind of a little bit of a disaster. I mean,
come on.
I'm looking at pictures of it right now. Oh my God. I mean, back then it was cool. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, he's going to want to be able to do everything. Oh, so he said McFarlane made the announcement alongside Kevin Smith on his show or his boat.
Okay.
And that's when he must have said that the reboot is going to happen finally, because Todd McFarlane is going to write and direct and take on his own like hellish anti-hero for Blumhouse. But this was held up and like they had to get this right. This was as July 21st. And this is when he made the announcement on it looks like Kevin Smith's show or whatever. It looks like it's shot by a phone and they're on a boat. It says 20 years after Spawn had last appeared on screen, the hellish anti-hero is receiving the ever-popular reboot treatment. Now, let's see. He's going to work with Blumhouse. And, yeah, that was being held up for a while. It's going to be R-rated, which is fine. I think they're saying that having worked with many visionary directors, they think Todd's unique artistic talents will only add to his role as director on this film. So Jason,
can Todd direct the movie?
Well, I want to find out, right?
I guess so, right?
Yeah.
Yikes.
The production's house recent releases include Split and Get Out, which were both awesome. They made a lot of money. Both of them did.
Yeah, they're both awesome.
I saw Split. It was really good.
Should see Get Out.
Let's see. I'm working on Legion right now. It's a TV series.
Yeah.
So Spawn coming back.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to top Michael J. White, but we'll see.
Coming back again.
Did you watch any of the animation that was on HBO? I never.
No, that was the animated series that aired in HBO between 97 and 99, and I think he played the Michael J. White played the title role in 1997, and he was actually Spawn was the subject of that animated series we just talked about. So that's it. That's the only thing that has been done since 97. The animated series between 97 and 99, and now we're back. We're back to maybe do. Well, not maybe. They're going to be doing a Spawn reboot.
Nice.
Edit by Mr. McFarlane himself.
All right. We'll see how that goes. We'll have to keep an eye on it. I mean, that's the thing is when I was younger, Spawn was it, man. Like Spawn, like
I was around when I was still collecting comics at that time, and Spawn was it. It was a big deal.
It was a huge deal, and I remember like
Ghost Rider was a big deal too. And after like 2 fail sauce movies, it's not meant to happen.
They
were so bad.
And the worst part is that I don't know. You probably don't like them, but I like them.
What?
Is the Crank movies?
Oh, I don't know if I've seen those
with Jason Statham.
Oh, I seen one of them, but they made another.
Yeah, there's Crank 2's awesome too, and
did they make a
the
third?
guys that did Crank did the second Ghost Rider, so I was like, this is gonna be awesome. And it was a bag of shit.
The first one, like they didn't even really get the like. They just had an actor in for like what would have been like his like his. They had an actor walk around for most of the movie rather than have the actual villain in the movie to try to like push like Ghost Rider to his limits. I'm just like, what are they doing here? And all the transformations, like they had to do it every single time. I'm like, oh come on, this would take forever.
Yeah,
that's just wrong.
You said you had a topic, right?
Yeah, fitness trackers. You ordered one. You just ordered a Fitbit Charge 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you ordered yours on Amazon.
Yeah. I wasn't into the thing where like I'm still on the fence with like halfway. I'm like, this is pointless. And then the other half, I'm like, nah, this is good because I just want to make sure that I get a certain distance in every day. And I like it because some days I'm on my feet all day at work, but some days are obviously slower. So I might be on my feet, but it might be leaning up against a table doing nothing or standing.
Time to lean, you have time to clean.
Or standing there cleaning something, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes I wore Michelle's, and sometimes I got like I don't know 7,000 steps by the time I got home. And I'm just doing it for an overall well-being and just something to add to being a little bit more physical. Just because I'd like to, after I lift weights, then I could do the remainder. If I hit 8,000 at work, then I'll do 2,000. But just something for overall. I know it's been around a long time and played out, but you know, with the way that Android and their smartwatches are going, I thought it couldn't hurt because it does do like the whole text message thing and all that. And I'm into technology, so I really want to just give it a go and try it. I mean, you know, like I said, a part of me is like, you don't need a freaking tracker like to lose weight. Just stop stuffing your face.
I don't know. I think that you're onto it. You're going to need something to help give you some extra motivation for moving steps, things like that. And that's exactly what these things do. Even though Fitbit had a 22%, like maybe a little bit of a decline in their revenue last year or this year, it's still like a $1.7 billion industry. So there's money to be had there. The thing is, the smartphones are starting to come up with other apps on them that can do almost the same thing as these products. But top 5, or maybe I'll do a top 10 from what I read in a recent Consumer Reports article. Easily the Fitbit Surge, TomTom's Spark 3, Garmin's Forerunner 35, TomTom's Spark, Cardio Plus Music, the Fitbit Charge 2, there you go. The Garmin Video Smart, Fitbit Blaze. That's the top 7 right there. And they range anywhere from, looks like 250 down. To the lowest was the Garmin at 120. And if all these things they're able to check they're absolutely number one thing they're going to be able to do is track your steps. Good. You know your steps at. What do you want second? You want something to monitor your heart. So you'd be in your zone. Stay in your zone. And so I think that if you can do those two things, what else would people want to look for with these? And it would be how accurate is the step counts, like we were talking about before. How easy is it to use? How accurate is the heart rate monitor? And is it water resistant? After that, a plus or a minus is just going to be GPS tracking, food tracking if it's in the app, and activity alerts, having a touch screen, a color display, or if the heart rate monitor is going to actually require a chest strap. And that's what Consumer Reports was going by. I was just reading it right out of the book. I think that from what other studies have been done on fitness trackers, they motivate people to walk more. Now, it depends on the person how much more they're going to walk. I think if you're able to compete with other people online, they say that you do better. Like, say an average person, because they know they have like you have a Fitbit and you're reminded that you have it on your wrist, you'll walk like X amount extra per day or week. But if you're trying to compete with other people, you'll walk a lot more. Right. Some people say, well, you can do that on your phone. I think that if you get these, that are in between that 120 and 250, they're very, very accurate, and they won't mess up on any of the requirements we were talking about as far as how accurate the step, how accurate the heart rate monitor. Yeah, it's getting better. And it says that if you can stick with it for 2 months, you're more likely to be able to continue using it for, the goal would be like over a year. And then like, if you can do a year, do another year. And the only experience I have right now is with what do I have on my phone? Google Fit. And it's tracking my steps. I'm getting more steps than I ever did because I know that I have something to aspire towards, like a goal. So if I check out yours and it looks like it's like going to do the same thing, and I don't have to have that app on my phone, I'd rather have it separate. But here's the thing with me, I don't want to have to wear anything. And they are starting to make them into different types of items that doesn't have to be something that goes around your wrist. It doesn't have to be something like a watch. You know what I mean? They're starting to actually incorporate them as just being a chip that tracks what you're doing. And that's going to be interesting to me, because I just tried today. I tried using someone else's, where is it? I still have it here with me. It's one of the Garmin ones. See? And I couldn't keep it on my wrist for more than like a half an hour. I wanted it off. So it burns precious. So I put it in my pocket, and it's still tracking, but it's not on my wrist.
See, I always like watches and stuff like that. So
that's the gearhead part of you that's going to get into that, right?
Yeah. And I had a Samsung Gear Fit 2, which was really, really nice. I like it better than the Fitbit. The only problem is that Samsung doesn't play nice with everything. Something like MyFitnessPal or something like that. But
Samsung, what is it? The Gear Fit 2 ranked on 18 on this list here. It's still there.
Yeah, well, I put it away because I wasn't using it, because I went back to my smartwatch instead of using that. But that was cool because it was in between there. So it was really nice as a smartwatch, and it was really nice as a fitness tracker. But then I went to find it, and it was just in a drawer. Not, buy anything that should break it or anything, just chilling, and it will not charge and not turn on.
Oh, so it's done.
Yeah, it's done for. I can't get it back on. I went back because it was really nice in that medium, that middle ground between a actual smartwatch and a fitness tracker. It had really nice animations and stuff. That big colored screen. Well,
how long did you have it? You probably had a warranty on it, though.
I had it in August, and I tried to use it again maybe in like January. So yeah.
Wow, that stinks. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if your warranty would have been up, and then you would have just been, it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah.
But I would have tried to use my warranty to see if it could be repaired, because that doesn't sound like it was a water problem, and those things were rated to be able to have good water resistance. So that was probably something hardware on their side.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Can't get it on. I don't know if it's here. Is it still here? No, I don't know where it is.
So Fitbit Surge, TomTom's Spark 3, and Garmin's Forerunner. Those are our top threes, but they're all expensive.
There it is.
Right there. There it is. Not working.
Won't turn on.
Charge it up. Go ahead.
I tried.
Plug it in. See what happens. Nothing.
Dead weight.
So I can't wait to find out how this experience is going to be for you with your Fitbit, and how it's going to work out. I don't know. You're going to track what you're doing during the day. You already said that. And then if you're at the gym, you didn't get, so let's say 2,000 steps, you'll just try to get them later on.
Yep.
Or if it's a nice day, call me, say you want to get 2,000 steps in. I'll come over. I'll work out anytime, anywhere, whenever.
Yeah. We'll definitely, be able to do it. What I'm going to like it for, though, and this is the thing, is those days that I don't work. Because I want to get to that 10,000. And, if I'm going to be going out for lunch and then having some drinks and all that, then it's going to be nice to, go out with you or whatever and make sure I get that 10,000.
Yeah, man. Wait do you see? Like, I used to just get the 10,000 and I'd be like, okay, that's cool. And then I'd see some days where if I get it early enough, I'm like, oh, let's try to get 11 or 12. And then I started dividing, like, well, if I'm supposed to get 10,000 and then for a week, what if I divide it on 10,000 by 7? And what do I have to get every day to get an additional, like, 8th day? And it's like 1,429 more steps per day on top of your 10,000. And then like I started doing stuff like that. Recently, yesterday I had my first 16,000, and the day before I had my first 17,000. Basically, your 10,000 steps is 5 miles. So in and around that.
Right, which is great. 35 miles a week.
Yeah, yeah. And then if you can get more, you get more. It's just the bonus. So I started, when we said we were going to start watching, I started watching stuff on the phone and walking at the same time, but just walking like regular. Right. And I just throw some headphones, throw some headphones in, and I can catch up on something that I wanted to be able to do while doing something else for myself. And that's working out pretty well. That's for a day where I'm going to like take it easy on jogging or running. That'll be out just like an off day. And that's pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But in between, it's easy to walk. It's easy to walk the dogs. Walking is pretty easy. You'd be surprised how it really doesn't take too long to get a mile in. A mile has a whole bunch of steps in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
2,000 steps.
What else do we say?
That's it. That's a wrap.
That's it for tonight. Got it. All right, cool. Yeah, we had some good discussion then. What? Oh, continuing Death Note.
Yeah.
I got to the part where I think that they were actually going to call it, but they decided to keep going on. So I'm going to see how it goes, because I think that it's they say that it's not as good, but we'll see how it goes. And then I did test out theory, since I got to the part where they were originally going to stop, and I rewatched the trailer, and I still like it.
Okay.
It's cool.
Good.
I still think it's pretty cool. And I did check out Crunchyroll, which is amazing.
Crunchyroll, yeah.
I can't believe that they just offer that for free. You
can't. Well, if you don't want the ads and you want to be able to do this or that, there's a pay version for everything. But Crunchyroll, it's the way to go. If you can't find it on wherever you're supposed to find it, then get on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's a wrap. So thank you, everyone, for listening to the B Plus podcast. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I did do my first horror short story, and it's over at seftimorlive.com, which I will link in the description. And I'm going to have more coming out, because I'm finding that I really like writing them. So let's, the goal is to maybe one day write a full-blown novel, or to one day compile these into maybe something like a short story book for a Kindle or something like that on Amazon. But it's always been a passion of mine. Even when I started the blog, I did say that I wanted to write for a year, just to get writing as a hobby or as a daily routine down. And I think I did that pretty well in the past 8 months. So I'm going to start dabbling in what I love, which is horror. So,
and the first short story is not about your birthday, but it's about your birthday. And the character's not about you, but it's about you.
Well, that's how everything's going to be. I read a book, in all honesty, before we call this, I read a book by Stephen Pressfield called The Knowledge. And it was about him coming up as a writer. And it was him living in New York City, coming up as a writer. And he said 50% of this is real, 50% of this is fiction. And he was driving a cab to make ends meet. Well, the cab was owned by the mob. So he ended up being the boss's runner. And a whole mob, what do you call it? Noir? A whole noir book it became. And like I said, 50% of it was really him and things that happened to him when coming up, and 50% of it was, to make the story interesting and for people to read it, because he's like, no one's going to read a book about me learning or having the struggles of writing as an up and coming writer. So I had to throw in this. And the book was incredible, and that's stuck with me since then. I also have a review of it on the webpage as well, but it stuck with me. And I sat there and I'm like, I can do this. I can, with all the messed up shit in my head, I could write some pretty cool stuff with, just things that I've seen and things that, I've gone through it. And in all honesty, I wrote a generic, I don't want to call it generic to take away from it, but just a regular reflection of the year so far on my birthday. And
there's the birthday.
And I was
experienced the birthday.
I was listening, just a reflection of another year gone by type article, and I was listening to a podcast, the Brian Keene, the horror show of Brian Keene, and he had this guy on named John Urbancic, and he has been writing for 3 years now. He's been writing longer than that, but for 3 years he is committed to writing a short story a day, and then he publishes it. He publishes it calls it Ink Stains. Now it could be an essay, it could be a poem, it could be a short story, it could be a longer story. But the thing is that he has to write every day, and it has to be complete. So he does that, and then he puts it out called Ink Stains, and he does a monthly. You could find them on Amazon. There's Ink Stains January, Ink Stains February, and it's just everything that happened that month that he wrote down, and he publishes it. They're not all on Kindle. Most of them are just physical. Okay. But he did a few readings, and at that moment, I sat there and I go, I can do this, and I sat down, and I scrapped the generic retrospective article, and I wrote a short story around the basis of the day on someone's birthday.
Your birthday.
Could have been. I wrote it. I wrote it on my birthday.
It might have been my birthday, but it could be anyone's birthday. Yeah, so, everyone has a birthday.
Yeah, so I'll link that in the description. But as always, if you enjoyed this, please give us a like, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.
Tap the subscribe button gently.
Yeah.